People can't handle the extent of the corruption of the deep state that has worked to delegitimize and subvert the Trump presidency from the outset. There is no time for the reluctance of the White House counsel's office. The American people deserve to see those documents, and the president needs to roll back the special counsel that shows no sign of acknowledging even that the president has absolutely demonstrated no wrongdoing whatsoever, and that the special counsel has no evidence of any wrongdoing. In other words, it's time to end this witch hunt. Joining us tonight, Congressman Matt Gaetz, member of the House Judiciary Committee, one of the 12 Republican lawmakers who've called on the president to declassify both the FISA and Bruce Ohr documents. And Congressman, great to have you with us. Let me start with this first report that Emmett Flood purportedly has been leading the effort on the part of some attorneys within the White House to stop the release of the FISA documents. Your thoughts?
Well, I've not met Mr. Flood. I haven't spoken with him, but I do know that only transparency is going to expose the extent of the corruption and really the connectivity of the cabal that is out to disrupt this presidency. I mean, we have caught the Ohrs red-handed, not disclosing information. And I think what's really important is that the information wasn't given to the secret court, to the FISA judge. And so here's our common sense argument, Lou. We can't show the American people what was hidden from the secret FISA court until we show the American people what was presented to the hidden FISA court. And I think that that's really going to show where you didn't see the DNC paying for this information, you didn't see the bias in creating it, and you didn't see the Department of Justice's own spousal relationships impacting what was presented as an intelligence document. Well,
that, as you say, common sense, and it makes perfect sense. There is also the issue here. This is a president who has said, and he has acted upon it, he wants his to be the most transparent administration in history, a claim made by his predecessor, but honored only in the breach by the former president. This president has a unique opportunity, and that is to take control of this witch hunt that that has frustrated him throughout his presidency. He has received no support from Mitch McConnell, from Speaker Ryan, from you and a number of your colleagues. He has received immense support, but from the leadership, nothing. At a time when McConnell and Ryan, in any other circumstance, would have expected, one would have expected to stand shoulder to shoulder with this president and simply decry the appointment of the special counsel and demand its end.
Well, Lou, I think that what you've highlighted is the frustration with the status quo, but imagine how worse things will get if the Democrats take over in the midterms. I think Bob Mueller purposefully doesn't want to give his report to a Republican Congress. I think that they are hoping that the Democrats will take over, that Mueller can issue a report, and then Democrats in the House can have a snap impeachment to really take us away from the results that we've been delivering for the American people. I mean, you look at the energy in the Democratic Party right now, it's about resistance, not results. And so as imperfect as our Republican leadership is, and we've been very critical of them at times on this show, Lou, I think it's a heck of a lot better than having the Democrats do everything they can to create chaos when we've got a president doing so much on trade, on the economy, on jobs, to make sure that American people live better lives.
I couldn't agree with you more. And I personally, I believe that the American people agree with what you're saying. And I can't imagine that Republicans won't turn out in massive order. I don't know whether such a thing is in prospect.
They've got to know what's at stake, Lou. I mean, Republicans have got to know that if you do not show up and vote in these midterms, you are essentially dooming our president to impeachment. And so we've got to get up, we got to be active, and do everything we can to encourage people to exercise the right to vote. Madison said that citizen was the highest role in the democracy, and we've got to rise to that challenge in the midterms as conservatives.
You know, the American people, and particularly those who voted for President Trump, did rise to the occasion in 2016. They've been frustrated. This president has not delivered on the wall. He's been frustrated in that desire by McConnell and Ryan. There has to be, it seems to me, a new bargain between this president and the people he would have vote for you and for your colleagues in the House and in the Senate. It seems that there needs to be a new Trump contract with specificity and dates about when does the wall get funded and what is going to happen next. because it can't be another one-way deal. It was, it was a shot, if you will, heard around the world in 2016. But now there's got to be careful aim and careful targeting in that contract, don't you think?
Well, you're right, and I'm new to the Congress. This is just my first term, but we make being a member of Congress a lot harder than it needs to be. If we wanted to fund the wall, we could do it this week, Lou. Yep. We could put funding for the wall onto the appropriations package. We could send it over to the Senate, and that wall funding could be on President Trump's desk before Florence even makes landfall in the Carolinas. But we won't do that because we're so afraid that if we do bold things, that will upset the apple cart for the midterms. Well, you know what? As Republicans, we need to be a lot bolder, and that's why I stand with Congressman Jim Jordan, who proposed just what I've described. Let's fund the wall. Let's do it right now. And let's go into the midterms with some momentum, doing what we said and keeping our word to the American people.
I couldn't agree with you more, Congressman. I think you've got the right man for the job. I think that you are making absolutely perfect sense. But at the same time, as we're talking about turnout, the Republicans listening to you saying, why do I need any more of these feckless fools who will not demonstrate the principle and the courage to do precisely what you and Jim Jordan have said. Move on. Let's get this thing done. And I just don't know I just don't know how that affects the American voter right now. Have they had
We'll demoralize our base if we don't do what we said. Look, we didn't repeal Obamacare to the fullest extent, and if we don't build this wall and we ask people to show up and vote, they're going to ask what we've done for them. Now, I think the economy is rolling. I think the regulatory environment's right. I like that we're resetting trade, but this last election in 2016 was about immigration, and we need to do what we said.
Without question, and this president he has more than delivered on his promises. I can't wait to see what the contract is that the Republicans will make with the American people in order to assure strong turnout that will keep this president, this Congress, and the Senate in control of our government. Because it's critical to see what their Democrats are talking about. My gosh, your head could explode listening to some of the litanies of free stuff that they're pushing across the table, irrespective of their own performance record or lack of such a record. It gets kind of exciting to think about what would happen on November 6th, because I can't imagine anyone rational voting Democratically. I suspect it's a bit of a leap for you as well, Congressman.
Well, yeah, and look, their agenda will be chaos. Every day there won't be policies put forward to help the American people, to help the middle class, to make sure that we've got safe streets and good schools. All the Democrats will do is they will manifest their Trump derangement syndrome in crazy hearings that will distract us from the important work that we've got to do for the American economy, the American worker, and the American family. So, look, I get that there are elements of it that are a bumpy road, but we're doing better as a country because the president is showing bold leadership. Now, you're right, the Congress can do more, but the Congress has to be a partner, not an impediment. And if the Democrats take control, all they'll be selling for 2 straight years is chaos and disruption rather than the results that the American people deserve and that we can get. We just have to keep our promises.
Just have to keep your promises. And the president, again, I love those who, you use the expression, the Trump derangement syndrome. The left is overwhelmed by Trump derangement syndrome. And I love the Woodward book coming out with all this nonsense about this is a chaotic White House. This is Bob Woodward, who has not had the best relationship with accuracy in his reporting before, and Bernstein, his former partner. I mean, these two guys now just look like, they're laughingstocks, what they're trying to do to this president and trying to do 2 months before the election. It's and then they walk around with sort of holding their nose high like they're some sort of clever lads. They look like, to me, abject fools, and the book looks like it is just rife with, well, misrepresentation.
Well, what concerns me about the book is that it really demonstrates everything that Trump has to fight against in a Washington where the bureaucrats, the Democrats, and even some of the Republicans are working to thwart his progress.
Absolutely. Will he or will he not, Congressman Gaetz? Will he or will he not?
I think he will.
Okay, that's what
I think he's going to declassify these documents.
All right. You knew exactly how we're going to wrap this one up, did you? Congressman, good to have you here.
Absolutely.
And
Good to be with
I
you,
can't
Lou.
wait to see